Hi, folks, and welcome to today's EDGEy conversation. We are being joined today by Alexa Swaby of the Fred Victor organization in Toronto, Ontario. So, Alexa, I would just like to dive right in and ask you, what is Fred Victor and what are you up to?
Yes, fantastic question. So Fred Victor, I'll start with a bit of history on the name, and then we can get into kind of what we provide today. So Fred Victor is a fairly old organization. We've been around for quite some time. The name itself actually comes from uh, the son of Hart Massey. So in Toronto, the Massey family is fairly well known for projects like the Massey Center, Hart House, very big philanthropic family from the 1800s. And Fred Victor was actually the son of Hart Massey. So Mary Sheffield actually started Fred Victor, and then with some help from Hart Massey, created the Fred Victor Center in 1894. So we've been around since the 1890s, which I know not a lot of organizations can say. And we started our roots in really being a mission and providing support and services for those most vulnerable in the city. And that still continues to this day. We are providing programs and services that address the three root causes of homelessness, which are health, housing, and income. And we currently have 22 locations across the GTA. So our reach is pretty far. And we have a variety of programs from drop-in centers, different types of shelters, transitional housing, permanent housing, as well as food security and food access programs, child and youth programs, women-specific services, and employment and education and training. So for those that have barriers to employment, we provide support for them to access jobs or further education and different things like that. So we have quite a continuum of services that we provide, and we are an agency that is there for those that need us the most, especially in times that they need us the most. So that is the full spectrum of what we do. I hope that was a good answer there.
Yes, absolutely. And what have been the programs that you've been focusing on most recently?
So
Or
most
is it
recent,
just more holistic? Yeah, sorry.
yeah, no, very, very good question. So I would say most recently, we have been, coming out of COVID. COVID is still something we're aware of, and because of the populations that we work with, it is going to remain on our minds for longer than I would say most people in the, most day-to-day people aren't really thinking about COVID anymore, but we still have to, given the population that we work with, and they are the most vulnerable. So that relates to, of course, their health as well, and those that are facing poverty and homelessness tend to have greater challenges when it comes to their health and as well as their mental health. So we are focusing on that. Food has been a big topic of discussion for us, as we all have experienced the high costs of, going to the grocery store and eating. Has just the costs have skyrocketed, and we're finding more people having to access our food program specifically. So whether it's getting our free meals at our community hub locations in Regent Park and Moss Park, or just finding different ways to increase their food security by taking on gardening and different programs that we have in our drop-ins that will, help with someone to, for example, like get an ID, or have an address that they can actually begin to get either government subsidies or, begin to get employment or things like that. So our focus is everywhere, everywhere, because people do need the support. Some pretty interesting things that are currently happening is, or I guess more recently happened is, along with the focus on food specifically, is last year we did launch our newest housing location. So currently Fred Victor now has 556 units of housing in the city. And last year we launched 86 that that made it that total. And that's just on Kingston Road, just on the east end of the city. And what's great about it is we, in partnership with the City of Toronto, we have taken a motel that we renovated and modeled so it can actually house, create like individual units, so we can house some people there. And then on top of that, we are doing a modular housing. So modular, for those that don't know, is when it's kind of like you make a house in a box in like a factory, and then you bring it on site and then finish the construction there. Much faster than our regular brick and mortar homes. So we're hoping to get that done by the end of this year, I believe, or the early next year. So we're really excited about that. And trying to think of what else is new. Those are kind of like the top two things right now. But as I said before, we're there for those who need it. So even if you are coming to us with a focus that is not focused on one of those things, we are there to help and provide support there, because you need it.
That's really incredible. And like your reach is so broad and impacting so many people. And the long history is quite incredible as well. I'm wondering, like, in this present moment, like, how are you seeing the spirit moving through the work that is happening at Fred Victor?
I mean, I think we are in a place where our reach is so far and so vast that we're able to help those that don't necessarily have access to other programs themselves, like by other means. We have so many connections and partnerships throughout the city, whether that be through corporations or different foundations or other faith groups, which we're really happy and fortunate enough to have. I know just one example that I can think of off the top of my head is where we have our women's shelter, is actually kind of the west end of the city, like Dufferin and College area, for those that know the city. And I went to visit actually a church that was close there, and the connection that they have with the women's shelter and the church, that partnership it was something that we wanted to happen, but it kind of happened in an organic way, which was really incredible to see. Because I was doing a presentation at the church, and I got a chance to connect with I think she's the leader of one of the outreach committees at the church. And she was saying that, a lot of the women that stay at the shelter will come on Thursdays and just spend time in the church and enjoy the social aspect of it, enjoy the faith aspect of it, and find a place that, is outside of, their everyday and living in the shelter, and can come and be with community and be with people and just really find a reprieve of some kind. And that was really heartwarming. And they weren't the only ones that would offer opportunities to women like that. And for women that and that was a women specific shelter, if I didn't say that before. For women that are staying there, they are there usually because they've come on some pretty tough times and are going through a lot of just different challenges in life, and are trying to get the support they need to find some permanent housing. And they're there, anywhere from 3 to 12 to 24 months sometimes, because they need it. And to find any level of community and any level of connection and support from those around them is really helpful. And I think to see how the community has come together with just different organizations, smaller grassroots organizations, local businesses, to see that, I think that is the true essence of the spirit and the community, and holding each other up, and giving a hand up to people that need it, because you never know when you might see yourself in a situation that's similar. I think that the root of our work is it truly is about helping people in the way that they need the help, and a way that they want the help. And that's why I enjoy working for an organization like Fred Victor. It's really rooted in helping those that need it, and you never know who might need it or what situation might arise. And I think being there for people when it matters is super important.
It's really beautiful. It's wonderful to hear when communities really like link in and connect together, and when sanctuary can be a sanctuary for people.
Yeah.
And it's also incredible to hear of all of the different styles of partnerships that you mentioned as well between your organization and other organizations in the city around you. Because I think a lot of folks have difficulty imagining what those partnerships might be or imagining how to communicate or connect in with them. So being able to hear that they're successful spaces, that they can be cultivated and grown is really, really incredible. I'm wondering as well, like, what's been the most unexpected thing that you've experienced in your work?
I really should have thought on this a bit more, but it's interesting because I say I'm fairly new to Fred Victor. I joined just last year, and I think what has been the most unexpected for me is, I guess, not necessarily the work, but the organization itself. I was surprised at how much we did, if I'm being honest. When I first heard about Fred Victor, people were just like, yeah, they do shelters. Shelters. I was like, oh, okay, that's fantastic. That's great. You know, people need shelter. But to see the holistic approach that is taken, and the person-centered approach that is taken, I think was really unexpected, and I think just so crucial, because people tend to think that, you know, there's a standard and a one way to address the needs of people, and it almost takes away everyone's humanity, which I think is kind of unfortunate. And we are people, we are different, we all have different needs, and being able to address that for each person that walks through our doors is actually something that was eye-opening for me and very reassuring that we're doing really great work here. And I have to praise our frontline staff, because they do tough work, in so many of our locations. Like, they're the ones that are making these meaningful relationships, trusting relationships with our clients that are coming in. And, you know, for a lot of people, they're coming in when they're in some kind of crisis, have experienced some kind of trauma, and, you know, we have to now try to build back the pieces for them and help them be able to do that. So I commend our staff tremendously, because they're taking on work that is not easy, and that, you know, can often go unthanked. And they work tremendously hard, tremendous hours. So I have to, you know, take a moment to recognize that. But I think, yeah, there's a lot of other organizations that are able to do, you know, little projects here and there that are meaningful to their communities, and praise them as well. But I think just the reach and the resources that we're able to provide to each of the people that we serve on a daily basis. We serve about 3,000 people a day. So it's pretty incredible that, you know, for example, someone can come in for a free meal that we give, but they can receive support to, you know, avoid eviction if that's a possibility for them, or they can receive support to, you know, get a social security, like a social insurance number that they may not have, or to get a license, or a piece of ID that they may not have, to get a cell phone. You know, a lot of things that we can often take for granted. You know, there are people there that don't have the access or don't have the same level of support to have those things. And to know that there are case managers out there that are working with us that are like, hey, we can get you the things you need, you know, is, I think, super reassuring. And it's great to see that we're able to do that kind of work. So I think it's kind of like half answering the question, but in a different way. But what was unexpected for me that I think I'm super grateful for, working at Fred Victor here.
That's wonderful. It is so good to hear about organizations that are really trying to lean into all of the different aspects that are like affecting somebody, because it's never like life is not about experiencing one thing at a time. Life is about experiencing many things at a time. So taking that sort of holistic approach and seeing people for the people that they are is just incredibly powerful, especially in the most vulnerable moments. So I am so thankful for the work that Fred Victor is doing and the work that you are doing. And I'm so appreciative for you joining me today and to share this edgy conversation. And hopefully we will inspire someone else to think about these things as well. So
yeah, I'm happy to be here and happy to have had this conversation as well. I appreciate this, Alexandra. This has been lovely, and I'm happy I'm able to share just a little snippet of what Fred Victor does, because I'm very proud of the work that we do.
beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.